right, we're here live at Sacramento City College with Lee Kemp. Let me get you a better light angle. Let's actually move back a little bit to the. There we go. All right, wrestling lunch break. We got world champ Lee Kemp here. Let me adjust the light. Lee, go ahead and take it away.
Well, all of us that are cooped up in this quarantine type of situation, I'm 63 years old and this is something I've never seen before, but I see the effort that's put into keeping everybody moving, keeping everybody working out, keeping everybody's mind sharp, and I'm so happy to be a part of that. The first thing before I get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the mindset of this. It does no good to fight this mindset and be unhappy that you can't go to the gym, you can't go wrestle. You just have to accept it for what it is. And at the end of this workout, I'll talk a little bit about the frustrations of going through the boycott of 1980 and how that, I think, can apply to this boycott of the 2020 games, and then the most recent boycott of the national tournament. A lot of you probably watching this workout maybe were involved in the college season, maybe qualified for the national tournament, and had this situation occur to where now you can't go, and now we can't even go to the gym, we can't even work out. So I'll tell you that I've been working out every day myself. I like biking. I'll give you that as a tip. Obviously, we're in a room in a closed environment working out to get some different type of exercises in. But get on your bike every day. That's a good place to work out. Find some hills, whether it's biking or running. That's a good way to get your heart rate up. I've seen people outside doing chin-ups on tree limbs that are hanging low enough. So there's a lot of different things you can do to get to work out in. But since we're here, we're going to start, and we're going to start with a little dynamic stretching.
All right. Before we get started, just know that we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So if you have questions for Lee Kemp, you could type them in the comment section, and we'll try to answer those questions. And also, Lee's Venmo account. Those of you that are interested in donating, Venmo at Lee Kemp. And Lee, just for the people that don't know, can you give people a quick intro about yourself? Let me find a better angle, and talk about what you're doing now, what brought you to California, then we'll get into the work.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to do that. Well, long story short, I moved to California because my son earned a scholarship at Fresno State University. So I was he and I were living in Illinois, Chicago area. So when he got the opportunity to come here, I followed him. So that's kind of like the main reason why I'm in California. I'm in Sacramento because I got introduced to Uriah Faber and had an opportunity to work with UFC fighters at his gym at Team Alpha Male. And then through being here for a year, I met Marcus, I met Dave Pacheco, who was here before Marcus. I branched out into the wrestling community. So now I feel like I've got a home here. So that's kind of why I'm here. And so I do lots of clinics. I work at Mad Time, the Mad Time Wrestling Facility. You can Google that and look that up. I do work at Team Alpha Male still, do privates there. And and I do some public speaking and coach at Sac City Junior College. Of course, that's why I'm here. That's why I was able to make that connection. First through Dave Pacheco, now Marcus is here as a head coach. So he's invited me in, and I actually give me an opportunity to work here with the team, which I enjoy, and I really like working with young men. So that's basically it in terms of what I'm doing here and what I'm doing now. I recently wrote a book called Winning Gold. I'll make that available to the people watching this broadcast, and then I've got some technique DVDs as well, and I've got a movie. It's kind of weird talking about that, but there is a movie about my life, a documentary called Wrestled Away, the Lee Kemp story. And as the name implies, wrestled away, there's a lot of things in life that get wrestled away from you. In my case, the Olympics in '80 was sort of wrestled away in the wrestling vernacular. And then life has its ups and downs. I went through some other things that got wrestled away from me. But the whole goal of life, and I'll use the same wrestling vernacular, is like if you get beat in a tournament, what do you have to do? You've got to wrestle back. So I had to do that in life. So I've been able to wrestle back. And so here I am. I feel like I'm being productive, working hard, sharing some of the knowledge that I've gained through all these many years of wrestling. And you know, like as I mentioned earlier, my son's now wrestling at Fresno State. So another generation of Kemp is wrestling.
All right, ready for a little warm up?
Warm up. As a wrestler, as an athlete, you know, we're a little more athletic than maybe the average person. So let your mind just kind of go back to some of the practices that you're in. And, you know, I won't go into a full pre-wrestling workout because some of you may be in your living room. But basically, I believe in more of a dynamic workout. So let's just start to move our bodies a little bit. And one of the good ways to move our body is just to squat, get into a squat situation. You hear like this. Squat a little bit, up. Just start kind of slow. And for me, I think it's real important to always make sure for a wrestler that this wrestling stance is something that we're very easy to pop into. Get those sides loosened up. Squat a little bit lower. Now we can turn into like a little bit of an exercise, a little dynamic exercise. Squat, back up, squat, back up, squat. Squat low enough so you can touch the mat, very similar as if you're in a wrestling stance. Either way, just like you're wrestling, you're in a good wrestling stance. I can feel my legs getting a little bit warmer. Now again, for those of you who are, you know, high-level athletes, you can add a little more movement to this, just make it a little more dynamic. You move around, circle, just like you would on a wrestling mat. But we'll just kind of go back to this squatting a little bit here. We'll do 10. 10's a good number, always a good starting number. When we get to the top of our squat, we're gonna just jump. We're gonna here, jump. That makes it a little bit harder. Jump. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another one I like to do is, in your good stance here, you're going to take a step forward, down to your knee, and step back. Backwards, down to the knee, forward again to the original spot. Step, down to the knee, up, back. Step back, down to the knee, up, forward, down to the knee, back. If you want to make it a little bit harder, just don't let your knee touch. Keep your knee above the mat or the floor a couple inches, and then back. Makes it a bit harder. I think that's about 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to do the jumping one again. We're going to add something to it. We're going to just take a jump forward. Yeah. Then we're going to just shuffle back. Gets our legs moving a little bit. Squat, jump, shuffle our legs back. Good stance, jump, shuffle our legs back. After doing that, I feel my legs are getting a little bit tight. Some of you high-level athletes, maybe you're not feeling it yet, but I'm an old man now. So anyway, squat, jump, shuffle your feet back. Squat, jump, shuffle your feet back. Squat, jump, shuffle your feet back. Shake those legs out a little bit. Starting to break a little bit of a sweat. Squat, jump, shuffle your feet back. Let's do 5 more. Ready? 1, shuffle those feet back. 2, 3, 4,
right, we're gonna actually move over to this. We have a bed. We'll get you in the sun, in the light. So that should lit up a little better. Is that better, Lewis? All right, I think we should be fine.
Is that good?
Yeah, it looks better.
All right, I'm sweating a little bit. Those of you out there should be sweating a little bit too. Let's just keep those feet moving a little bit. Now we're gonna keep the emphasis on our legs right now. Gonna just do some thrusts upward like this, back down again. Let's do like 10 on one leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of the leg. Those legs moving. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right.
Got a request to speak louder? Maybe because I'm so far away. I should speak.
Okay. Throughout this whole exercise routine, just keep your feet moving. Keep your feet moving. Hope you can hear me okay. So let's just say that was one set. Depending on your skill level, you can just do 2 or 3 sets of that. We'll only do 1 for right now. Now we're gonna get into on our knees, kind of stretch our quads a little bit because we just put a lot of emphasis on those. Now we're gonna sit. We're gonna just work our core, keep working our core through here. Keep our feet on the mat, take our hands up off our knees, and just feel our body in this position. Then we're gonna extend our feet, then extend our feet back. Extend, back. Extend, back. Extend, 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 extend. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now from here we're gonna go from side to side. It's a little bit of a stretch. Four or 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another set. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch, side to side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get on our knees and stretch our quads a little bit. Now we're going to work our core in this position. Just a plank. Going to hold the plank, tighten up your glutes, keep your core strong. Just going to hold this for, actually, we don't want to take up too much time during this broadcast doing it, but I mean, planks are really good. You can do this for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We'll just do it just for a little bit. Come up, off the plank on your hands in a push-up position, then back down into the plank, up, push-up position, back down into the plank. Here we're working on our triceps, up into the plank, back down, up, back down, up, back down. 5 more. 1, back down, 2, back down, 3, back down, 4, back down, 5. Knees underneath. Stretch your arms out a little bit. Let's roll our necks out a little bit too. Forgot to say that a little bit earlier. Something wrestlers are really common. Shake our wrists out. Now, we're going to go to a push-up position. This is an area that, as a wrestler, I did a lot of push-ups. This is something you can obviously do without any weights, without anything around. But the way I do them is a little bit different. And this is it right here. I get in the push-up position, and I go down very slowly. I count to 10 as I go down. So I'll go down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it there for a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 seconds down, hold it for 5, and 5 seconds up. So that's actually 15 seconds, 15 counts. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's 1. We'll do 10, but when I was training, I used to do 100 of those. Can't do that now. Some of you watching can, so feel free to go ahead and do it either now or after. But maybe we'll do 5 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2. Ready. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 4. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think that's 5 or was that 4?
That's fine.
If that was,
I think so. You guys got 20 minutes down? So far?
yes. So I brought 2 water jugs to simulate some weights, and this is kind of what I would do if I was at home because I've got some dumbbells. But I'll go run and get those real quick. Since those of you are home, you can't get out, we all have access to this. So one of the first ways I start, for wrestlers, shoulder strength is very important. I felt like I had a lot of shoulder strength. I understood that early on in my career. So I did a lot of dumbbell raises like this, because that's a common position in wrestling. You're pummeling, you're constantly working those deltoids, all the 3 heads of your deltoid. This head, that head, then the head in the back. So I did a lot of that as an athlete, even in high school. And as a result, I felt like I was stronger than my opponents, especially in that area. It's a smaller muscle group of the body. I mean, shoulders look big, but unless you work on them, you're not gonna get as strong as you can. So just do lateral raises. Now, if you have dumbbells at home, just use a dumbbell. But with the advent of gyms and having everything so convenient, you go to your gym, everything's there, you may not have any. So, in fact, I gave my set of dumbbells to my son. I was in college now. But anyway, we'll do 10 dumbbell raises to the side. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For those of you who are, great shape, really strong, just do more, or maybe grab a little bit more weight. So that's just one head of your deltoid. Now we're going to go in front this way. Front raises this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last area of the deltoids, the back head of your deltoid, gonna go this way. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's use your deltoids a lot, maybe getting out of a front headlock. Here, use your arms, lifting, trying to post so you don't get, you make that, your elbows wide so your opponent can't get around you. Deltoids are really important. Now we're gonna do some curls. Real common. Hope my things hold up. I hear a little creaking there, but we'll do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to do, if my tape holds up, presses. I hear it creaking, so if it falls, it falls, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. If you notice, your shoulders are already a little taxed from doing the raises, so now the shoulder presses, you really feel those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake it out a little bit. Also, depending on the type of water bottles you have, if you get the kind that you can grip, which these aren't, you can do everything we just did with the firmer bottles that have a little grip so you can hold. Then you work your grip at the same time. This wouldn't really work as well with that. Next thing, gonna go back to our legs a little bit. Just gonna do a squat, just with our weights going down between our legs like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Gonna do a different type of, gonna hold the weights, gonna lunge forward, down to a knee, and back up. Down to a knee, and back up. Step forward, down, back up. Either touch the knee, or just keep your knee a little bit, an inch or so off the floor. It makes it a little bit harder. 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the feet wide. We're going to just do side bends, just with a little bit of weight, just side bends. You won't really feel it now, but we're going to do 100 of these. Right around 50, you're going to feel it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 9, 30, 31, 32, 3, 4, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 4, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Really stretch. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 7, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. I'm starting to feel it. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Awesome. Let's just kind of move around a little bit.
20 minutes. It's 10 o'clock. 30 minutes left total.
30 minutes left?
Total.
Okay.
We'll do the question and answer at the end.
Right about now, if I was outside, find yourself some steps, some stairs. Stairs was a place that I trained a lot on. Hills especially. Stairs if you're kind of on campus somewhere, but typically a lot of colleges, you can go off campus, you can find a park with a hill or something. Hills are great for conditioning, sprinting up the hills. You got a partner with you, put them on your back, you can run up the hills. If you're by yourself, because of the social distancing, of course, maybe you can carry weight. You can carry these weights and run up the hill, run up the stairs. You'd be surprised what carrying just a little bit of a weight will do. Get on your bike. I'm going to get on my bike later on today. Some of you may have seen some of the posts I make, but you know, you can add intensity to anything that you're doing. So we don't have much time left here, but this will give you some ideas, just some creative ways you can work out. When I've shown those push-ups, I get a lot of responses that people have never really done them like that before. You'll notice just doing 10 like that is very difficult. Try working your way up to 100. That builds a certain amount of conditioning. You can do any exercise like that. An isometric where you're slowing everything down. Set of 5 down, hold for 5, set of 5 up. Shake those arms out a little bit. We're going to pick one more exercise to kind of finish up with. And if there is some responses out there, if somebody were to say which exercise would they want to see, or maybe even something new, maybe some questions even now while I'm just here jogging. The whole mindset of being a wrestler is in your mind. It's you, all you, and it's your opponent. You take all the victory, or you take all the defeat. Coach can't help you. Nobody can help you when you're out there. Obviously, your preparation gets you to that point, but once you're out there, you know, I've seen wrestlers win with no preparation because they were injured. They couldn't train the way they exactly wanted to, but they still wanted to win, so they went out there and they still won, even though their conditioning wasn't where it really needed to be. So use every opportunity to strengthen your mind. Just to end up with, let's just do some basic stretching. One side, other side. Really stretch that torso. Try to take your head, look to another point further than you looked the last time. Over your shoulder, look to a point over your shoulder further than you looked the last time. Over your shoulder, over your shoulder, over your shoulder, over your shoulder, over your shoulder.
Footwork, stance in motion.
Okay, as we move around a little bit here, as a wrestler, you always want to keep your footwork intact in your mind. And as a wrestler, obviously, stagger stance the other way, stagger stance this way, that way. Circle, circle. Always shuffle your feet. Never cross your feet. That seems basic. But I see some wrestlers violating that. They'll get lazy. They'll start crossing your feet as you're moving around like this. Constantly shuffle. One side, other side. Obviously, work on down block, down block, down block. I'm a proponent of down blocking. Down block, down block. Keep those feet moving. Hands out in front, always, always. Your hands don't want to be back in here because by the time a quick wrestler shoots and you know it's coming, you're here, your legs are exposed. Hands should be out here. Hands should be like a little signal, a little indicator. If a person shoots, sometimes you may even see it, but your hands feel it, then you sprawl. Hands out in front, hands out in front. Circle, 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 side to side. Circle, down block, down block. Stagger stance, protect that leg. Stagger stance the other way. Here's something that I did as an athlete. Coaches are not going against coaches, but typically you don't want to lift that hand up on the same side as the leg because obviously you could get elbow posted and things like that. So I would do it on purpose to bait my opponent to shoot, and I down block that way. I post, they'll hit it up and shoot. I come across and down block. Here, reach out. This hand's ready to down block. Reach out, down block. Reach out, down block. Reach out, down block. Out, down block. Now, obviously you can reach this way, which is the down block's already there. Opponent shooting to the far leg, it's much easier to down block that way. Sometimes you have to create some action. Your opponent's a good wrestler. They're going to take advantage of something. You stick the arm out, you can see the opponent's going for it. Down block. Boom. Reach, down block. 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 I just got real comfortable doing that. Allowed me to get into front headlock position easy. Allowed me to stop the shot much easier. Well, it's a short little workout. You can increase the intensity. The whole goal, though, is that you did something. And for me, you know, for 30, 35, 40 minutes, I got to move around a little bit, got to break a sweat, got to work my muscles out a little bit. And
and I'm going to get my bike a little bit later. So let's, please, if you have any questions, ask, and I'd be more than happy to answer anything, whether it's about conditioning, diet, nutrition, which is a big area that I'm really passionate about, focus. A lot of athletes ask me questions about how do you prepare for a big match, you know, the nerves and just the anxiety, all that. All athletes go through it. I've gone through it. I've heard Mike Tyson recently, you can Google it. He talks about being scared to death before he goes out and fights, and that's hard to believe. A guy like him, you watch his walkout videos, it looks like he's not afraid at all, but he says, I'm afraid I'm going to get embarrassed, going to get knocked out, whatever. I was the same way. I mean, none of us have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to really happen. So anyone who walks around like with their chest out, like I'm going to win, and, you know, they're doing that they're just doing that to be, just I don't know, to be macho, whatever. No one knows. It's better to just be quiet, actually. I always let my actions speak for me. If someone were to ask me, Lee, you know, are you going to go beat this guy? I just say, I'm just going to do my best. You know, that's all I'm going to do. And my son does that. You know, I'm around my son, and he said, Dad, I'm just going to go do my best. And I say, Adam, you always do your best. I'm proud of you. I'm very confident you'll go out and you do your best. And your best is probably going to be good enough. And if it's not, then there's nothing else you could do about it. So that was my mindset going into the match. And I embraced competition. I wanted competition. I wanted somebody to challenge me. I went with the toughest guys in the room. I would go up a weight, down a weight sometimes to wrestle a tough guy, and you know, even wrestle Gable when I really didn't have to. So it was just something that I really wanted to do as a young wrestler.
What happened, for those people that don't know, what happened with your match with Gable? You
know, the match with Gable, as I get older, I get asked that question a lot. And as with stories, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger as you get older. So, but the match is on YouTube. You can watch it. It was a close match. It was 7-6. But the whole thing about that is I met him when I was a sophomore in high school. It was that summer, actually. I was in between my sophomore and junior year in high school in 1972. That was the Olympic year that Dan was going to win his gold medal. I was at a summer camp, like a lot of you have been at summer camps. That summer, between my sophomore and junior year, summer of 1972, Dan was there, one of the head clinician there, 300 kids in the room. He was training for about another month. He was going to be in Munich to win his gold medal. So I had a chance to absorb everything there was about him. I was his drill partner when he taught the technique. And I joke around. I tell the audiences when I'm talking to kids, or even other audiences, I say, well, when Dan wanted a drill partner, who do you think that partner was? And I know I kind of gave it away a little bit by how I was leading up to this. I was his drill partner. And it wasn't because he asked me out of a room of 300 kids sitting there. I knew that he was getting ready to ask for somebody or point someone so he could demonstrate the technique on. I just stood up and walked right over to him. So I didn't give him a choice because I wanted to be the guy that was going to be there absorbing the most. It's just like sitting in the front of a class if you're trying to absorb all the material in school. So went through that week camp, and after the session was over, Dan would go and work out with, seriously work out with his workout partners. He bought Ben Peterson, who also won Olympic gold medal in '72. John Peterson, the brothers, he won a silver medal. Ben was at 198, John was at 180, Dan was at 149. And they worked out together, and Dan whipped all of them. But they were all high-level athletes training, and I sat there as a young wrestler, only my first year of varsity, absorbing all that. Now, the reason why that's important is because less than 4 years, like 3 years and 4 months later, I'm a sophomore in college. It was in November of my sophomore year in 1975. Dan enters a college tournament because he made a decision to try to go out for the maybe go out for the '76 Olympic team, and he enters this college tournament in my weight class. And my coach tried to get me to move, move up and move down. You don't wrestle Gable. You'd have thought I was signing up for, to be executed or something like that. But I was excited inside. I didn't know I was going to win. I just wanted to challenge myself against the best. And as it turns out, I ended up winning the match, and Dan retired after that. And Dan and I have talked about that match not often, but about 5 years ago, obviously. So, you know, I'm 63 now, so it was, you know, 5 years ago. And Dan's 8 years older than me, and he told me something about that match. And this is something I want you to really listen to. This is profound, I think. He said, Lee, it never occurred to me that you would actually try to beat me. I'm going to repeat that just to make sure you got it. He said, it never occurred to me that you would actually try to beat me. And it's like, wow, think about that. Aren't you supposed to try to win every match, right? That's just how I was programmed. So it made him rethink his commitment to wrestling. Dan was a much better wrestler than me, but my focus and I understood that not always the best wrestler wins. You know, I just knew that because I won my first state title by beating a guy that was actually better than me, but I won the match. And that showed me that you can win against a more skilled opponent, a stronger opponent, whatever. You could just find a way to win the match. I'm not talking about luck or anything like that, but you just keep your mind in the match. You try to win, you look for opportunities to win, and you stay focused and you don't give up easy stuff. And the biggest thing I see in matches is that wrestlers give up easy stuff. You know, they get taken out easy, they get put on their back easy. Now they're down by 8, 9, 10 points, and obviously it's really difficult to come back to win. Maybe they might score later, take down or two at the end, but obviously they're not going to win. So, but anyway, that Gable match was something that taught me a lot. And I approached the Gable match with something he said way back at the camp 4 years ago, because Russia was trying to find a Soviet, a Russian wrestler to beat Dan Gable. That because they never had an American so dominant in the sport of wrestling. So they just thought, oh, we'll find a Russian that could beat him. So they made it public. And Dan commented about that at the camp. And of course, I was well read on Gable and I knew about it because it was in our media, you know, Amateur Wrestling News and places like that. And Dan said at the camp, he said, there's no reason that this Russian should beat me just because he's a Russian. He says, I can train just as hard as him. I can learn just as much as him. I put on my singlet the same way he does. And that stuck with me. So when I wrestled Gable, I thought of that same thing. And Dan said in that camp, anybody can be beaten. You know, anybody can be beaten. If he'd have said at that camp, anybody can be beaten except me, that would have stuck in my mind, and I don't think I would have won that match because I would have thought, well, Dan said that he can't be beaten. But I just hung on every word that he said, and because he said anyone could be beaten, now I'm wrestling him, I knew it was possible. I knew when I beat Jerry Metcalf in the semifinals of the state tournament my junior year, I mean, Jerry was better than me. You know, not by much, but he was a little bit better than me, but I won the match. And that taught me there that you just have to be smart. You've got to understand what you're doing. You've got to know your technique. You got to know when there's a scoring opportunity. And if someone's better than you, you got to keep the match close. And if you watch the Gable match, which you probably can, just Google it, the last 30 seconds is the thing that was really important. Dan was in on a shot, a deep shot, and then he got in on a bear hug, and while we were on our feet, and there were like 30 seconds left. And it looked like he was probably going to score. The mental battle that went on there was amazing. My mind thought, well, if he takes me down, I'm going to lose by a point, and everybody's going to say, great job, Lee, and you did a good job. You didn't get smashed, you didn't get pinned, you wrestled Dan to a 1-point loss. But as I was fighting him off, I thought, well, why don't you just win? That would be more valuable to me, to win this match. And you could see, I just stayed really relaxed. When I watched the match, I stayed really, really relaxed. I mean, you could see how I just floated with him as he was trying to take me down. And when that match ended, man, I knew I could beat anybody. It was just a mind process, a mental process. So if anyone has any questions, please.
We do have a question from Evan Sanati. Hope I pronounced that right. Not sure if you answered this in that story, but he said, what made the biggest difference for you in your career?
The biggest difference is I covered what I would call the three main bases of wrestling. And those three main bases were identified to me when Dan Gable was interviewed after that match. Obviously, it was a big deal in wrestling. It was before the internet, so obviously you had to wait till the next day for the papers. But it made national news throughout the whole country, actually. So, but anyway, Dan said that Lee is very strong. So I ask you, who controls how strong you could be? Of course, the answer is obvious. It's you. You know, he said Lee's very strong. He said, I couldn't get Lee out of position. Positions occur before there's a wrestling move, obviously. And if you don't give up position, like not letting someone underhook you, that's a position. Not letting someone Russian arm tie you, that's a position. Not letting someone hang on your head, that's a position, as an example. That happens before wrestling moves. Literally, those are all setups to wrestling moves. So I was strong, and I knew position. I knew when I was out of position, I was strong enough to get back in position. So who controls what positions you get into? The answer is obvious, it's you do. If you don't let a person on your head block the underhook, down block the shots. If you're constantly letting guys in on your legs, then the technique begins. You know, the movement is a position. Stance, movement is positions. The guy shoots in is basically technique with positional movement, head outside, head inside. Once the guy's in, it's kind of too late. You down block, they can't get in. If you don't let them unhook, don't let them tap in your head, you're controlling all the positions and you're strong. Then the last thing he said is, I couldn't get Lee tired. And I ask you the question, who controls how tired you can be here in your conditioning level? The answer is obvious, it's you. So I had all three bases covered just as my mindset from high school. So when I wrestled Gable, with that mindset, he couldn't get me out of position, so he couldn't even get in he didn't have any opportunities to really get in and score me. He got in one time at the very end of the match. And Dan's big thing was his conditioning, and maybe his conditioning was coming into play a little more then, but he did get in. But I countered it with 30 seconds up. But strength, I was strong. I grew up on a farm. I started to embrace the farm work my dad was giving me to do because I knew it was helping me in my wrestling. And so I had strength. I understood position and conditioning. I used to run. We all run as athletes, but you have to run in such a way where you push your conditioning. Running 5 miles does not help your conditioning as a wrestler. You know, a match is 6 minutes long. You know, it's an aerobic sport. It's not anaerobic where you can just have an hour to do it. You have to push. So I learned very quickly, wrestling is a sprint-oriented sport. So I used to run sprint workouts, like 50, 60, 70-yard sprints as hard as I could. Take a little bit of interval rest, sprint again, 10 sprints. If you do that, you'll realize that simulates how you feel when you're really tired, when your body's functioning without oxygen. So conditioning, strength, position.
All right. Another question from David A. Morgan. Who or what made you want to wrestle?
That's a great question, too. I think in life you have to be open to opportunities, and maybe that's more of an adult phrase, being open to opportunities. You know, when you're young, you don't know what opportunities are really. But I was born in Cleveland in the city. Then my parents moved to Chardon, and so in junior high, so I went out for the basketball team. That was the only thing I knew. Coming from the streets of Cleveland, we shot hoops all the time. I never played. I played 20 seconds out of 2 years in basketball, 7th and 8th grade. And I thought it was unfair. I thought I deserved to play, but obviously I never grew very tall, and maybe I wasn't very good. So maybe I think it was a divine appointment. I don't believe anything's luck. I just think God directs us into certain things if you're open to the promptings. And I think by me not playing and having any success in basketball, I was open to new opportunities. Now, I'm not saying that you should jump around the first time you don't have success in something. It just seemed very apparent to me that I was never going to play in the sport of basketball. And the wrestling coach, who was a gym coach, approached me because he said, Lee, you're pretty good in gym class. You might be a good wrestler. I have an open spot at 138. So if you go out for the wrestling team, the freshman team, you're going to be my 138-pounder. And that's what I did. So in that scenario, why not? You know, sometimes you try things. You know, it could have been the other way around. Maybe I was a wrestler that was never wrestling, and then the basketball coach recruited me. You know, who knows? But, you just have to be open to opportunities. There is no one right path. You have to see what feels good for you. When I was in the restroom and felt right, I started to pick up things pretty quickly. And comparing that to other sports, when I went out for basketball, the plays and not being very coordinated with dribbling and all that kind of stuff, I just didn't feel comfortable. Football, same thing. I wasn't as big as some of the other athletes, and I didn't like the hitting. So if you don't like hitting and the jarring feeling of getting tackled and jarred, maybe football's not the right sport for you. Just using these analogies. So I remember coming home with a headache every day after football practice. Football's maybe not the right sport for Lee Kemp. I found wrestling, I just kind of gave you that long answer because sometimes you don't know what's right for you, really. You just have to be open and be honest with yourself and develop a passion for it. I've known some wrestlers who didn't have the same success I had, and in my opinion, they were some of the biggest motivating people that I've ever been around in wrestling. They motivated me more than almost anyone else because of their work ethic, the way that they approached it, and they were getting better. It's just that, so maybe somebody's a little bit better and they keep winning and you keep losing, but you keep gaining internally, you keep gaining confidence, you keep gaining lots of different things. It's not about just gaining and collecting medals sometimes as well. So it's not a specific answer, but wrestling certainly has changed my life. And obviously I'm still coaching wrestling, doing privates, things like that. But I think wrestling is just a great sport that teaches you about yourself.
And just to piggyback off that last question, a little bit about your story. You started late, right? So
I started
it's ninth
late.
grade or 10th grade?
Ninth grade.
Ninth grade. So what advice? So that's relatively late in the wrestling sense. What advice would you give to people that start a little later in their career and expecting and want to have success for the long run?
Well, starting late could happen, like with me. I was again, sophomore year is the first year I made the varsity. It's only my second year of wrestling experience too. And as you know, freshman teams in high schools is not really that. You don't really do very much. You wrestle maybe 8 or 9 duels in the conference and have a conference tournament, and that's it. That was my experience to wrestling as a freshman. Sophomore was varsity, and I was a 500 wrestler, as you can imagine. I won, just as many matches as I lost. So I did start late, but you can make up the ground, and that's the whole point. Don't think, just because you started late, I can never be a state champion. Well, I went from less than 1 year, from not even, going to the state tournament as a 10th grader, to fast forward to the very next year, I won the state tournament, was undefeated, beating the defending state champion. But I put a lot of time on the mat. My coach would tell me at like 8 o'clock at night, when we start practice at like 4, Lee, go home. Because I'd stay with him and drill and drill and drill. Coach, show me this, show me that. And he'd wrestle with me. I did that with him almost every day, literally. So when you're passionate about something, it shows. And you can't get enough of it. And I just kept wanting to learn. And this is before the internet. Man, if I'd have been wrestling now with the advent of all the ability to watch technique, I would have OD'd on it probably. All we had is amateur wrestling news that came out once every 2 months maybe. And once we got that, we scoured through it, looking at, and didn't show technique really. There was no videos of any. Videos hadn't even been invented yet. You'd have to take a film of something with a Super 8 camera, get it developed for a week, then put it on a projector, reel to reel. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those. Get in a dark room and play it. That's so. But I actually bought a projector camera that would shoot film back then, and I remember filming some matches. I filmed Jimmy Carr wrestling once. He's from Erie, Pennsylvania. There was a match. I filmed it. Then I went and had it developed on a reel-to-reel and actually watch it in a dark room. So stuff like that. I mean, that's just how much we had to do just to be able to watch wrestling technique. This generation has the ability to watch wrestling technique. You can OD on it, like I said. If you want to redeem the years, make up the ground, it's very possible. There's always people doing things that someone else said couldn't be done. I love that as a challenge. I was one of those kind of people that, not that I was trying to prove people wrong, but I just, don't tell me I can't do something. Why can't I do this, really? And I notice my son's a little bit like that, like me when I see that, and my daughter too, actually. She's very confident, my older son. So, and maybe that's from just being around me a little bit. But if you want to achieve something, go after it. I've known people who become doctors that I knew in college. When they were undergrads, they were people that I didn't think had the ability to become a doctor. Maybe because their work ethic, they were just partying a lot. But then they got to a point in their life where they put it all together, went to med school, and now they're doctors. And I know that because I saw them later in life, and we exchanged, the pleasantries, the greeting, and they would tell me, I'm a physician now. I'm like, wow, how did you do that? And I talked to people who become lawyers, went to Harvard, MBA, Harvard Law School. when it wasn't apparent to me that they were really going to ever do anything like that with their life. So you can always do something that people say can't be done. And I was definitely that way as a wrestler. So start now. If you're watching this live workout, then obviously you have an interest. If you want to set a goal next year to be a champion, whatever level you set, go after it. Go after it.
All right. Any more questions? Looks like no. Lee, before we take off, anything else you'd like to add?
You know what? I have some things there on my website that may help you. I've got a book that I've written called Winning Gold. It's a motivational book of just stories and some of my reflections over all of my many years of competing as an athlete and then even in business. You can open it up to any page, just find some words of wisdom. They're short stories. It's called Winning Gold. I've got some wrestling technique videos on my website too. I've got areas of pinning, riding and pinning, setups, which is my big thing, and my single leg takedown. That's on my website as well. And then also, I've got a documentary movie about my life called Winning Gold. If you Google Winning Gold, Lee Kemp, it'll pull up all the different places you can get it.
Wrestled Away?
Yes, it's called Wrestled Away, the Lee Kemp story. And it's available on Amazon Prime, Google Play, iTunes. And you could, actually it's free on this website called Tubi, T-U-B as in boy, I, Tubi. So you can watch it free there.
All right, we'll put the link in the comments after this. All right, so that about wraps it up. Lee Kemp, thank you very much. Those of you that are just tuning in, Lee's a 3-time Division I national champion and 3-time world champion in an Olympic Games qualifier in 1980 before the boycott. So thank you, Lee, for your time. Thank you, Wrestling Lunch Break, for the opportunity. Thank you, Lewis Baker. Great things we're doing with the wrestling community. Let's keep it going.
Awesome. Bye. Appreciate it.